Hey there, my fleet-footed fancy footwork friends. This week I'm joined by a jump rope community ray of sunshine, Sarah Caldwell. Sarah's reels are full of hydrangeas, diving boards, and the occasional splash from her ball-obsessed pit bull Honey. She's a grandma with more style on a rope than most of us will ever hope to have, and she's proof that practice, proprioception, and patience can turn a diving board into a dance floor. In this episode, we talk about everything from Trictionary Tuesdays to shuffle groups, double Dutch meetup adventures to rope surgery, plus how jump rope keeps our aging brains sharp and occasionally saves coffee cups mid-fall. Sarah is kind, funny, and the perfect example of how jumping rope can bring joy at any stage of life. You're going to love her. Let's jump right in. Sarah Caldwell, thank you so much for joining me on the Jump Rope podcast. I'm so excited to have you here and see you again.
Dizzy, it's an honor. I, in my wildest dreams, would never have thought I'd be a guest on your podcast. I've listened to them. I know you've done at least 40, and I've listened to a lot of them, and I've had great takeaways. So I'm thrilled. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah, this is podcast episode 41. And I was thinking about it earlier, thinking, well, we're 41 now. That means we're going to have to wear bifocals and
Yeah, the midlife podcast.
yeah, we're in midlife. That's okay. I think
That's
we're
okay.
maturing a little bit. Not so much,
Thank
but
God.
yeah. Yeah. Well, I tried to look back and I still have to nail down how to do this on Instagram to see when we first connected. But I did roll back and saw that the first messages that we traded, I think were in November of last year. And
Yes.
I think it was after I had Aaron Jumps 365 on the podcast.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Yes, I remember seeing you first getting out there and figuring out that we really weren't that far away from each other.
Right.
It dawned on me that you were in the Midwest and that you were
Yep.
in a colder climate than me. But being that I'm in Chicago and you're in Minnesota,
Yeah.
that's pretty close because at the time I really didn't have a lot of localized jumpers here that I knew.
Right.
So it was good to connect with you.
Yeah, likewise. You said Chicago. You're kind of in a suburb of Chicago, right? Or a nearby
Yes.
town?
Yes, we are about equidistant between Milwaukee and Chicago. So it's about
Right.
an hour drive. During COVID, it was like 30-minute drive, but it's about an hour drive to Chicago and about an hour to Milwaukee. So we're in the northern suburbs. We're not on the lake. We're in an old village, and we've lived here for 40 years. Long time. Our kids are raised here.
Wow.
Two of our grandchildren are being raised here. So it's a
Wow.
village. We have a lot of friends and a lot of
Nice.
colleagues. And yeah, it's wonderful.
It's so beautiful. I love your reels. You have such great backdrops. I think you jump sometimes in front of your house and there's I'm not sure what it is, a magnolia, but it's not a magnolia. There's some sort of bush behind you that's got white flowers on it.
Yes, that's the hydrangeas on the side of our house
Hydrangea.
are
Oh my gosh,
huge.
beautiful.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's sort of a nice place to jump in the afternoon because the sun is now in the west side of the house and I'm not being baked to death. And sometimes it cuts down
Right.
on the wind. So I go there in the
Yeah.
afternoons. Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you for noticing that. Sometimes when I jump by the swimming pool, it's always a little tricky because you're so close to the water. And sometimes the ropes get wet. Sometimes I get wet, but it's
Yeah.
fun. Thank you for noticing.
Yeah, I skip on a lot of limestone benches, right? And I was watching you jumping on the diving board on several reels thinking, oh, we've got that in common. We like jumping on these little spaces and it's kind of a challenge.
It is. It's really about having a great body awareness, I think, where you are. I know it
Yeah.
makes people nervous that you're going to
Hmm.
probably fall off or twist an ankle, I think would probably be pretty likely. But the diving board where I jump on it toward the very back, it's
Back.
not that
Yeah.
bouncy. So it looks a
Right.
little more precarious than it feels.
Yeah. It is. It's interesting to me how the process of learning jump rope has increased my proprioception or my
Yes.
awareness of where my body is at. And so I've had people comment sometimes when I'm jumping on those limestone benches, like, you don't even look down. And I don't anymore. I mean, when I started, I was like, I'm going to fall off. But now I just feel it. I know where it's at. I've done it so much. There's one of your swimming pool videos that just tickled me, which is you on the diving board skipping. And I think the caption is see who gets wet first. And your dog,
Yep.
who I think is a pit bull mix or a pit bull,
Yes.
she's sitting by the pool and she's just kind of basking in the sun. And then you're jumping and then you throw a ball or something into the pool and you dive in first and she kind of casually gets up and kind of swims down in the water.
She used to be a little speedier at her water entrance, and I have to admit that most of the time it's my husband who's throwing the ball and diving in, and she goes in after him or the grandkids.
Yeah.
But if you put the ball in the water, she will go after it because she's a little bit ball obsessed and she's older. She's 11.
Yeah.
She came to us as a rescue, ball obsessed, meaning you could pretty much get her to do anything as long as you had a ball. So we can get her to jump in the water. We can get her to navigate the entire pool if we have the ball. If
If
I
you
didn't
have the
have the ball,
ball.
she would not jump in.
That's hilarious. That's
Yeah.
so funny. She's so adorable. I love dogs and I love pit bulls. They're just amazing animals.
She is
Yeah.
She thinks anyone and everyone that comes to visit and rings the doorbell is here to see her.
Of course.
So she has
Why
to put
wouldn't they
on
be?
yes, I mean, she is the cutest thing ever, and she has abnormally soft fur. So most people, when they say, "Can we pet her?" they're amazed by how soft she is. So she's always
Yeah.
been just this really adorable little smiley face dog to give your love to. But people are a little nervous around pit bulls, as
Yeah.
you probably know.
Yeah. My stepmom and dad had a pit bull that just passed a few months ago, and they're just amazing dogs. They get
Mhm.
such a bad rap. And when I have a dog that is a Cairn Terrier, she's about 13 pounds. I adopted her in Tacoma at the Humane Society, and when I went in there, I would say 60% of the dogs in the Humane Society were pit bulls. Like
Yeah.
there's so many people that get pit bulls and then give them up, or that are just afraid of
Yes.
them as a breed. And if I ever get another dog, it will be a pit bull. Like I
Yeah.
just love them to pieces.
Honey is our second rescue. Our first rescue was Flora, and she lived for 13 years. She was an outstanding companion. And Honey is 11. So I say it, in dog years, she's 11, but um, in dog years, I'm 11 too. We joke around a lot about that. But
Yeah.
she was rescued on the streets of Chicago, but she
Wow.
came with all of her manners. She was potty trained and she knew all of her commands to stay, sit. I mean, that's
Wow.
dependent on what she feels like doing, of course, because now she's got her aging girl mind and she does whatever she wants. For the most part, she
Right.
was just like the perfect dog. We were just so grateful and truly blessed. Our family is so blessed to have her. She's made the biggest difference in our lives and in the lives of many people that also love her. So she's a nanny dog to our grandchildren. She's so precious and sweet. And you'd think, my goodness, are you comfortable having a pit bull with them? And we are
Yeah.
she just
Yeah.
would do anything to make sure they're safe and keeps
Yeah.
them away from the pool to a certain extent.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
anyway,
They
she's
are
a doll.
so attentive, aren't they? I mean, like
Yes.
deceptively attentive. They know what's going on around them. And
Yes.
yeah,
She's right
I
at
have,
my feet here.
is she? Yeah.
She's listening to you.
Making sure that you don't say anything incorrect. Yeah.
Right.
So you don't work now, or you're retired? Is that correct?
I am retired. I retired in the summer of 2020. So COVID hit us in
COVID.
March. Yeah, lovely. Um, and my kids moved home. My youngest son and his wife moved home. They had just been married 6 months before and moved home because Chicago sort of closed down completely. Their jobs were remote. And so they moved in the house and there was a lot going on. I volunteered with three other ladies to sew masks for daycare workers in the city of Chicago that were taking care of
Wow.
healthcare workers' children, as well as for assisted living workers. And
Right.
they couldn't get masks. So yeah, it was such a interesting time. I actually came across one of my pictures in my memory came up about with me sewing masks, and
Yeah.
we got very disciplined about it. We had tons of fabric donations of all different NFL teams, baseball teams for the guys. We
Cool.
had different floral patterns or stripe patterns or whatever you have for the women. And then we
Hmm.
had all kinds of superhero fabrics for the kids. And we sewed masks like it was our full-time job. So I made, I think, over 2,000 masks in a period of like 6 weeks, 7 weeks.
Wow.
It was
Wow.
crazy because I had a Singer sewing machine that my mom had given me probably, 25 years ago. Never really used it, but got so
Yeah.
comfortable with it that, and I mean, granted, I'm doing some mass mass production, haha, it's funny,
Right.
but we're mass producing them on our own. And so you could kind of do it in your sleep, you got so good at it. But I'm not
Yeah.
a sewer. I've never been someone that has wanted to like pattern a dress or
Right.
anything. But if I was good at it and we just turned them out like crazy, and then neighbors wanted them and they were quite stylish. Now they're in my car. They're all over our house. I'm
Great.
not really comfortable getting rid of them, but I probably should.
Yeah.
So it was a fun part-time activity. And then what did I do? We did our first trip to Vermont to see our oldest son. We were so
Okay.
nervous about travel. And that's where he brought out a jump rope because all the gyms were closed. My gym was closed. His gym was closed. And he said, let's jump rope. And I was like, I haven't jumped in 50 years. I'm happy to try it.
Wow.
So I don't know if anybody follows Jimmy Says Relax. He's
Yeah.
been jumping for a long time, Jimmy Reynolds. So Jimmy
Yep.
Reynolds produced these Stay Gold. That was his company, and he made beaded ropes. And
Okay.
during COVID, he would constantly sell out, and we'd have to wait for the next release or whatever. And it wasn't like it was a stylish release or anything. They were great ropes, but it was that people were buying them because of COVID. So
Right.
those were my first ropes. It was all white. I loved it. And that's what I learned to jump with was a Jimmy Says Relax or Stay Gold white beaded rope. I still have it.
That's amazing. So your
Yeah.
son got you into it.
Yeah, George, my son George. My first video of jumping rope with him is we're jumping together. It's like in one of my highlights.
That's
So yeah,
great.
I know. It was
Does
really
he
fun.
does he jump regularly?
He doesn't jump regularly anymore because he has had a kind of a foot issue. And if
Okay.
you have a foot issue, it's like not recommended. But he jumped for years and was on Instagram. He's done a couple of my Christmas jump rope videos. So I'm grateful
Fun.
for that. But he has other things he does now to stay in shape. But we still have our
Sure.
Stay Gold ropes, which you can't buy anymore. So I feel like it's pretty special.
Yeah, that is pretty special. You should like frame that or mount it in some way.
I know, I know. I'm gonna think
Yeah.
about like a shadow box or something.
Yeah, totally. That would be a nice little piece of art and memory. I mentioned your beautiful hydrangea. I don't know if you do the landscaping. Do you have other hobbies or do other fun things outside of jump rope?
Honestly, jump rope is my biggest and most fun hobby. I've always been a gym rat. So I was the girl that was in all the group classes, whether it be Zumba or,
Yeah.
um, weightlifting or fight. I love fight classes. But when the gym closed, I was sort of displaced. And that's when I picked up jump rope. I still
Hmm.
continued when they opened the gyms. I brought jump rope to the gyms. Everybody loved that. Not everybody. Some of the members were kind of like scared because as soon as you start releasing a piece of hard plastic,
Right.
people
At
kind of
100
keep
miles
their
an hour.
distance. Right.
Right.
But they were very entertained by that. And I continued to take classes. And then when I turned 65 and was able to get onto Medicare, they offer the supplemental. And most of the people outside the US may not understand it, but they get a supplemental insurance. And part of my supplemental insurance is a free membership to Lifetime Fitness, which is about 7 or 8 miles from here. So I resigned from the gym that I'd been
Oh,
a member
wow.
at for almost 30 years. It was so sad. And joined there just because it was free. And so that's where I've been
Yeah.
jumping
Right.
since last September. And it's nice. People there
Okay.
are very young for the most part, although there's the group of seniors that are only there from, a certain hours of the day, which is like 9:30 to 5:30. That's when the senior group can go. And it's pretty
Okay.
quiet. So, everybody comes up and they want to know where I learned how to jump rope and how long I'd been jumping and
Yeah.
do my knees hurt? And how about my neck? How about my hips? It's hysterical. But for the most part, I'm now a fixture there. So nobody really, they wave at me
All
and
right.
go like this.
That's great. Are you the only jumper at the gym?
For the most part, yes. There's one other
Yeah.
gentleman there that does cross rope and he does
Okay.
some of the speed ropes, but
Yep.
nobody else is spinning the rope. Nobody's
Right,
bending it.
right. Nobody's
So it's
dancing with it like you.
no. So they're fascinated by most of the time they'll come up to me and talk about their children who are starting to jump rope. So all of my jump ropes that are like have seen better days, I give to them
Yeah.
to take home to their kids and resize it
That's
for them
nice.
because yeah, it's sometimes they're worn out. Now I know you're a recycler, so you are and you buy two ropes at a time that you love, which I'm going to do from now on. That is
It's-
brilliant. But somebody, I don't know who it was recently, and like two podcasts ago, they replaced the beads that get worn out at the bottom. And
Right.
you
It was
said,
Sarah.
Sarah, okay, I loved it. Yeah. Jumping, is it skipping with Sarah? Is that the right?
Yeah, stronger with Sarah.
Stronger with Sarah. Okay. So I thought that's brilliant. I'm going to do that, except I don't have the patience. I think you said, I don't think I could sit there and reweave it all. I don't think I could do that either, but I save every
Yeah.
bead I remove. So in theory, I think that's a possibility to be more conscious of recycling some of my older ropes. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah,
Seems labor
I got
intensive.
I mean, honestly, I find it fun to do rope surgery, and it's to me, it's not so much like the taking the beads off the rope and putting them back on. There's like two things. One is when you add or remove beads from the rope, you're adding or removing length, so you have to be careful not to add too many beads back and stuff like that. So I know how many beads that I need, but the issue that I have is that because I'm jumping on concrete or
Yep.
limestone or stuff so much,
Yes.
I don't jump on a jump rope mat. The beads at the bottom just get worn away to almost nothing. And I took some pictures and actually sent them to Sarah because I had the ropes I've been jumping with most have 1 inch beads. And by
Yep.
the time I actually replace beads down at the
There's
bottom, they're super thin and sometimes they like fuse together because the edges are no longer round.
wow.
So yeah, so I take out, I think I took out 16 or 20 beads on one of the ropes last week and replaced it, and the rope was a couple inches longer, or I had a couple more
Really?
inches of bead on there because the
Wow.
rope wasn't any longer, but the beads made it a little bit longer. But yeah, it's
That's
it's
an
amazing.
it gives me an appreciation for like the jump rope Chris and anybody dope ropes anybody that's making these beaded
Yeah,
ropes because like their colorways are so cool and
yeah.
I to replicate that like I think I have the extra beads to be able to do that but by the time I get all of them off and I go to put on the few that I have to replace which is how many do you replace like 16 at the
Yeah,
bottom
16, 20, something like that, depending
okay
upon how the rope hits or how long the rope is and how much of it actually comes in contact with the ground.
Okay. Yeah. So then it looks different. The colorway is a little different. I don't know. So
Yeah.
I try not to mess with other people's wonderful art, which becomes my road.
Yeah. What I ended up doing on that rope was taking off one of the handles, pulling out, I think
Oh,
I had like, 30 beads or something on the end that were just fine, took those off, and
okay.
then just emptied all of the deteriorated beads and then put the original beads back on and then added like 10 fresh
At the
beads
top.
at the
Okay.
top and then did it
Okay.
on the other side as well. And that way they stay a little wider. And the ones down at the bottom were already discolored from jumping on concrete and stuff. So it worked out pretty well. And I got my baby back and I'm sure I'll be doing rope surgery on her again in a couple months.
I like that idea though. That's smart. How you are going to, that's much more efficient than I would have been. I
Yeah.
would have, but
Yeah.
curious, how many beads are on your rope?
With 1 inch beads, there are 84.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I
And
have 76. You're taller than I
76.
am. Yeah. So it makes it easy. Like a lot of people say, changing out their ropes takes them forever. It doesn't take me very long because I just count out the number of beads I need
Yeah, totally. Do you
pretty
leave
quick.
some gap between the handle and your beads?
Yes. Yes.
How much? How much gap?
I'm going to say a fist for like a fist on each side
Mm,
or, or,
okay. Like at
maybe
least a couple
three.
beads?
Well, yeah, at least three. There's got to be,
Yeah.
I think there's about a 6 inch, like if you were to take it all down and see
Hmm.
what rope remained, it'd be about 5 to 6 inches.
Okay. Wow.
But
I
I
usually have a
saw
little less of a gap than that, but
yes, and I saw that at the jump rope meetup that Tracy, a lot of people have very little space.
yeah.
Nikki has no space.
Yeah.
So I think that's interesting.
The funny thing about Nikki is I've watched her online for so long, and I think of her as just a jump rope monster. Like she can get these releases done and stuff, and she's just this little tiny thing. And like in the morning, she and Allison and Pam came and picked me up, and I rode around in the car, and she just got this little tiny voice. And I think of her as a jump rope monster, so I expect her to go.
And she's just teeny weeny.
I know, but she is a jump rope monster. She is awesome.
She is. And she moves so lightly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She turns, she cracks me up. I've been following her for a long time. She used to do jokes. Do you remember when she'd put silly jokes out there?
I've seen a few, but no.
Yeah. And I love when she does her countdown to vacation. I mean, people crack me up online. I'm so entertained.
Yeah.
So entertained.
Yeah. One of the things she did at the meetup that made me super happy was she's like, hey, let's all jump like somebody else. And she's here, I'm going to do dizzy. And she started jumping and trying to like mimic the way that I jump, which was hilarious to me.
Where was I? That would have been so funny. That would have been funny.
It was just on the beach there, but yeah, she's like, we should all jump like somebody else. She was trying to flow like dizzy.
That was the most fun. Most fun.
Yeah, wasn't it? How many meetups have you been to, Sarah?
That was it. That was my first one.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was a newbie like you.
Yeah.
So I was like, I didn't know what to bring it. And then when you posted your list, I was so grateful because I would never have thought about, like, I'm a mom and a grandmom, so I should be thinking about all kinds of things. But I was just thinking about like, well, what do I want to wear? How do I want to do my hair? So I was glad you put the list
I thought of that stuff
up.
too. The hair, not so much, but yeah.
Yeah. So no, that was my first. Now, if you consider going to a Get Roped class with Rachel Jablow, then I've been to, I think, 5 or 6 of her classes where there's maybe 3 to 5 people.
Okay.
So maybe that's considered a meetup. If that's a meetup, then this was not my first. But a meetup to me is when people kind of
workshop or a class, right?
Yes. Yeah. And they're wonderful. Believe me, they're so much fun to come to. And I did know a couple people at the meetup from her class.
Cool.
Yeah.
Who else did you know already?
Steve, do you remember Steve sort of had that brand new camera, was so cool, did 360. So he's adorable. And he lives in a town not too far from me. So he and I met at her classes. And because we're roughly in the same generation, he's younger than I am. But, you know, he's so much fun to talk to. And then I ran into him in the parking garage. He pulled in on his BMW motorcycle. I was like, who's this? I looked at him like, who's this guy? And then immediately knew who he was. But I thought it was so cool. And he started unloading and changing and whatever. It was so much fun. Yeah. He's a great guy. He hasn't been jumping. I think he takes lesson from Rachel. I think that's how they know each other. And then DJ, who's hysterical, that's Rachel's best friend. She comes to the classes too. Hilarious.
Cool.
Hilarious. Yeah.
She was a lot of fun.
She's a ball of energy. She usually rolls in. And then the first time I ever met Janie in person was at the Get Roped class. And Janie rode her. She got there on her rollerblades. And she was freaking adorable. So that was super fun. So it's, for me, I'm like the old gal, but I love it. They're so inclusive. And I got to meet Rachel's mom, she's adorable as can be. She's just very fit. She sort of came to our class and hung out, and then we visited. So, you know, you meet so many wonderful people. Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. So speaking of the meetup, what did you learn at the meetup?
Well, I got involved in a couple like group jumps, which one was Rachel's, which I had practiced before I got there. So I felt
the meetup combo.
Yeah, I felt pretty comfortable. I wasn't fantastic at it, but I was so distracted by everybody on the cement beach.
Yeah.
But then Davey started this really cool combo down by the water, which involved switch crosses. And then he had this really neat athletic kickback. And I was like, I love that.
The kickback is so awesome, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't look as awesome doing it, but I'm going to continue to work on it because I think it's something that we're going to see a lot more of. I think the direction change of the rope is a cool thing to add to any workout. Now, I wouldn't recommend you doing that on your cement step there because
the limestone
for the concrete.
block.
Yeah, I think that would be, although maybe you have the balance to do it, but I think the kickback is a great skill to learn. And I hope other people will try it too. It's better than just a
Yeah.
regular stall for me. I
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah, it looks so cool. And actually, I'm talking to Davey a little bit later today for
Are you?
the next week's podcast. Yeah. So I
Okay,
will dig into the kickback.
yeah, he's a really interesting man. I wanted to find out a little bit more about him because he doesn't live that far from me.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought his sister, Margarita, came and
Mm-hmm.
she hung out. Do you remember with like
Mm-hmm.
everybody?
Yeah.
And she was like the epitome of the greatest sister to ever have because she
Right.
could not stop talking about how much she loved her brother.
That's so awesome.
I was like, this chick is so cool to come and spend a hot afternoon watching everybody you don't know jump rope. She did try
Right.
it too, right? So you get
Yeah.
a cred for that. But
Yeah.
I
She
thought
was
that was
really
so
cool.
she is. She
Yeah.
is. And I love the double dutch. That was super fun. Not good at it, but I think I can get better at it. And I
Yeah.
think that's things we did when we were young. And I just haven't done it forever. So that Laura brought those cool long ropes. That was great. That was a
Yeah.
highlight for me. And then spending time
Yeah,
at,
the double dutch
getting
was
up.
cool. I wish I would have got more video of it. I got in and I jumped for a little bit. I have no video of me in the double dutch ropes.
Me neither. No, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't think I was highly successful at it. I remember getting in,
Right.
jumping maybe 3 times, 4 times, and getting out
Yeah.
without getting hit. And I thought
Yeah.
that was game changer. So then
Right.
I was really interested in doing more. But I thought that was a blast. I loved when people from just the side came in and just wanted to jump, and
Yeah.
they were so good. I don't
Yeah.
know.
There was that couple that was like, I think they were
Yeah.
wearing brown or they were almost
Yes.
matching and they watched for a little bit and then just walked down and got right in the middle and didn't even like say anything. They just jumped in. And I was like, this
And
is
they were
awesome.
so good. and
Yeah, they
and here
were.
we are struggling to get in. I think there needs
I
you know
know.
what's really interesting about it is there is an association with double dutch that goes back maybe couple centuries in Chicago, believe it or not. I
Oh,
don't know, a
really?
couple centuries, but it's a very old sport that I believe that was brought over from Africa. I have to look at it more, but I found it fascinating that there was this special club
Yeah.
decades upon decades and upon decades ago in Chicago that did double dutch. I thought that would have been
Yeah.
fun to know that ahead of time. So anyways,
Yeah.
that was fascinating.
In Tracy's episode, she was talking about like when she was younger and part of a jump rope team, they would do the triangle, which was like double dutch with 3 people, where
I
they'd
want to
get
know
three
that.
ropes going. I
Yeah.
know. And then you could go from one rope to another rope to another rope. That sounds like it would be super fun to try.
Oh, do you have I sort of envisioned it in my mind and I didn't research it, but it looked like it could involve a lot more people. And then you take
Right.
turns turning the rope, right?
Yeah. You have 3 turners, each holding on the
Okay.
handle of one rope turning. So, like, if I had someone over here, I'd be
Yep.
turning one rope here and you could jump into that rope, but then you could switch over to the rope, that was another
We
side
should
of the
do that.
triangle. Yeah, it sounds super fun.
Yeah. And then there was one other that she talked about where they go through, and I think I've seen that at other meetups
Yes.
where you stand in a line of people and
Yes.
everybody jumps. What's that? I can't remember what she said that was called.
Oh, what is that called? Yeah, so one person gets the rope going, and then there's a line of people, and they move down the line of people, and as the rope comes over, that person jumps, and then they move to the next person, that person
Yeah.
jumps.
That would be
Yeah.
fun. I bet Jump Rope Chris has done that at his meetups. I
Yeah.
feel like that's something he would do.
I think those games are super fun, and it's another way to jump together, rather than
Yes.
just with your own rope, which is fun.
I think you told a story last week on the podcast with Tracy that you had brought a bunch of ropes and people actually borrowed them and tried to, do their thing on the beach with you. And I think that's so wonderful. I didn't even think
Yeah.
about that. I think I brought 2 ropes.
You know what? I had a bag of spares in the car that I never went and got, but I mean, in my own backpack, I think I had 7 ropes, but I had a bag of another half dozen ropes in the car that I brought because I planned to just give them away or trade them or something. And like once things got going, I was just so enthralled with the jumping and I was going from group to group and talking to different people. I got to the end of the day, I was like, I left all the snacks in the car. I left all the spare ropes
Oh,
in the
you did?
car and whatever. Yeah.
And I never met Nick before. So we walked
Yeah.
on the beach. Steve, the gentleman I was telling you about that takes lessons from
Yeah.
Rachel, we kept looking for you. We're like, is that
Yeah.
Dizzy? No, that's not him. We're looking all around. And Nick was sitting with like just out of view. And I didn't know. I felt terrible when he finally figured out that we were part of the same community. Then it was great. But I felt terrible that
Yeah.
here we are looking all around and not connecting with one of our own. But he was fascinating. I enjoyed that
Oh
podcast.
my gosh. Yeah.
He
He's
gets
such a
up,
cool
I couldn't
guy.
do his hours. His hours are,
My gosh, he gets up at like 12:45 in the morning and then is jumping by 1:15 or 1:30 and he's
yeah,
like yeah, and in the news studio by what was it 3:15 or
yeah,
3:30 like
yeah.
crazy.
I
Yeah.
can't imagine it. But
Yeah.
I haven't watched his news show, so I have to make a point of doing that.
Yeah, I've seen a few clips and he's quite the broadcaster. It's amazing.
Yep. I
So,
appreciated everybody coming. That was so nice.
yeah. Yeah, it was. It was so cool that there were a couple ladies that came from Canada, like Nikki and
Yeah.
Pam, and
Yep.
yeah. Yeah, it was great. I was telling Tracy, I don't think I can wait a full year for another one of these jump rope meetups. Like that
I
was
know.
just too special of a time.
Right.
So
Right.
we're gonna
I
have
agree
to
with you.
get something together sooner. Yeah.
And Jordan
So,
came and
oh my
sorry.
gosh, she is amazing. Yeah.
And did you see her last? She did a Lauren Jumps footwork yesterday or the day before. And I mean, she's pretty pregnant right
Like
now, and she had the
she's like
speed
5 months
down. And
pregnant, isn't she?
yeah, I was so impressed. I was like, "You go, girl! I love it."
Me too. She's hilarious. She talked about how many people comment like that they think she's Lauren because because of her
Oh,
skills and her
okay,
hair and stuff. Like she gets
yeah.
mistaken for Lauren a lot, or they think she's actually downloaded Lauren's videos and then reposted them on her account. Like
I
no,
didn't hear that.
like no, she is a monster of jump rope. She is so good,
Yes,
and I'm so fascinated with. Obviously, I will never be in the situation where I'm 5 months pregnant and jump roping, but that's got to be a different feeling. I mean,
yeah.
right?
Right? Don't you think? I do, and she's so like, her speed hasn't changed at all. She has such a wonderful group of people that follow her. They're very dedicated to her posts, and she just looks fantastic from day one. I went back yesterday and went way back. You can't tell. She's still killing
No,
it.
she's super graceful. Yeah, she crushes it. So Sarah, how would you describe your jump rope happy place?
Jump rope happy place.
Yeah.
I love to learn anything that looks visually appealing to me. So I'm
Mhm.
spend probably my family would say, "Wow, you've spent a lot of time on Instagram." But I've always spent a lot of time on Instagram because I was so attracted to jumpers during COVID. I never even opened up an Instagram account for myself until 2 years ago. So
Yeah.
I jumped with a coach for well over a year until he was like, "You need to do this for accountability's sake, and I think you'll be happy you do." But I spend a ton of time looking at like Rush Athletics and, like I said,
Mhm.
Jimmy Reynolds and
Mhm.
Lauren Jumps and just Kathy Jumps and so many wonderful inspirational jumpers out there
Yeah.
that in my brain, I would think about them during the night, like how they did certain things during the night, and then I'd go try to figure it out during the day. So that's what I think is a really great exercise for my 66-year-old brain. I really do.
Mhm.
Having the visual learner, so it's real easy for me to get on and see what everybody's doing and then try to emulate it. And I seem to really focus on learning it on both sides. So my happy place
Nice.
is learning it and then learning it on my non-dominant side.
Wow.
And I really am a bit of a preacher about that with the
Yeah.
jump rope groups that I'm with because I think being ambidextrous on your crosses or your toads or your mic releases or your EB go-go's, whatever it is, if you can do them on both sides, that's really good for both brain, both sides of your brain.
Yeah,
And it's
totally.
really good for if I needed to rely on a certain combo and I needed it to be left side driven, I can do
Mhm.
that and have not the degree of confidence I do on my dominant side, but pretty high degree of confidence that I can make it happen on my left. And I'm trying to emulate that in more of my reels that
Mhm.
it's worth the time to put in. So,
Yeah.
my happy place is knowing that I'm really giving my brain and body a great exercise when I'm out there. And I do it a lot by myself with Honey. She's generally my companion whenever I'm at home, and she
Yeah.
is, quiet. My husband helps me with music because I feel like I'm not like you pick the best music. I don't know music. I would never had like a record player in college. I think I had a CD player in my Toyota Celica, my 81 Toyota Celica. But honestly, I need help with music. So I rely on my friends. I have a couple of really good friends that feed me music and
Oh, yeah.
say, hey, this would be great to have to do a reel to. Why don't you give it a try? And or they'll say, hey, have you done anything to Stevie Ray Vaughan?
Nice.
Like, yeah, I would,
He's
but
my
I would.
hero.
Yeah. So I started to listen because I'm pretty lame when it comes to really knowing what would be a good, audio to pick for that. And I don't like necessarily all the trending audio, although, it's fine
Yeah.
and it gets probably more views. I don't think I get a ton of views because I think I'm using some random music, but that's okay. I'm not in it for the views.
Yeah.
I'm in it
That's
more
not why you're
for
doing it,
like,
right?
am I satisfied with how I prepared for the day and how if I'm not doing this, what
Yeah.
am I doing? I have got grandkids that I love to spend time with, but besides that and enjoying my husband and my house, my dog,
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a ton going on. I'm not a gardener. That's not my responsibility to make sure
Yeah.
those hydrangeas are blooming as
Blooming.
beautifully as they
Yeah.
are, but
And they are.
I love to just go out and play with a rope. And I'm not jumping. I don't jump every day anymore. I can't do
Okay.
that. But I spin the rope. I'll spin the rope every day and I'll watch videos a lot to get
When
a
you say you
sense of what I'm going to do.
when you
Go
say you
ahead.
spin the rope, are you doing like rope flow stuff or just working on upper body stuff when you're not
Yes,
jumping?
just releases that I don't
Right.
necessarily have to do anything else to. My Mamba, my Mick releases, both sides, my EBs, my anything
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't necessarily involve me getting my heart rate up very high and certainly not a
Yep.
lot of jumping on hard surfaces. So
Right.
I probably do that 3 times a week now, maybe more, but 3 times a week, hard cardio workout with jump rope, 2 to 3 hours at the club or outside.
Wow.
And if I don't like it, I'll go back out again because
Mm-hmm.
I won't be satisfied until I really feel like, oh, I did that correctly. Because especially if you're
Mm-hmm.
remixing, I used to love to remix. I
Yeah,
think that's such a compliment to anybody you're remixing. Like,
I know.
I was blown away when Lise put that out that she had learned. You couldn't have, was like the best Christmas gift ever.
Yeah.
Like, that's so flattering. But I love to remix with a jumper. It's very hard to do. I was thinking about when you said your happy place. Several years ago, the jump rope Chris started his Trictionary Tuesdays. Do you remember those?
Mm-hmm.
They've come
Yeah.
back.
I mean, yeah, I've seen that.
Were you jumping then? I don't because it went I don't know
No,
when
I
you
started
first
in
started.
March. I started in March of last year, where that's when I created my Instagram account and started doing stuff.
Wow.
So that was a little before my time, but I've heard about Trictionary Tuesday and I see some of the tricks come out of Trictionary Tuesday. And now I'm a member of Trictionary as well. But
Oh, you are. I
yeah.
think so. He has a very good friend called Lizette. Um,
Yes.
I think her moniker is Lizette Skipping.
Yeah.
And so she used to do a weekly challenge called Mick Mondays, and it
Hmm.
always involved Mick releases.
Okay.
And I was very much intimidated by both of those challenges. But I said to myself, if you don't get yourself out there in the beginning of the week and start, working on these, doesn't mean you have to get it, doesn't mean you have to get it
Right.
correct.
Right.
Just means that you're going to start thinking in a different perspective about
Hmm.
how rope bending
Yeah,
goes.
totally.
Honestly, probably the best investment of time I've ever done. And I
Yeah.
got plenty of them wrong. And I
Yeah.
still will do one and I'll get it wrong. But as I'm posting it, I'll be thinking, okay, how does that work? And I'll catch myself. So now
Hmm.
I've moved on from being able to get most of them correct to recognizing when I'm not doing it correctly.
Hmm.
And I think those are the best. Like, for example, Jump for Joy.
Hmm.
He just started this group. I didn't join it because I belonged to 2 other weekly commitments, and now I've got my
Yeah.
Trictionary Tuesday. So I didn't join it, but I loved watching them all.
Yeah.
And I think what was great about it is that you knew that you needed to get out there and do it.
Hmm.
And it really encouraged you because your friends were doing it.
Yeah.
It was a, peer pressure type of thing. And
Right.
and maybe there were plenty of times where you didn't feel like doing it, but you did it.
Yeah.
I sort of felt that way with the Trictionary Tuesday and the Mick Mondays, it was kind of like, I don't know, this is a big deal. This started my week. It's going to take me hours. And it did. It took me hours.
Yeah.
But the things you learn by doing what you don't necessarily want to do
Right.
is remarkable for your building your skill set. And
Yeah.
I love that about it. I love that
Yeah.
about Coach Chris and Lizette for doing that. So I really, if I were to look at my jump rope journey and be able to credit it to anybody in particular, I would certainly say them. Sue, 60 and me, she was a
Okay.
huge influencer because she prioritized those types of drills as well.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like goals for me. She does the
Yeah.
craziest things. And for me as a aging adult, I think it's important to really try to do things that make you as happy as you can be and keep you
Right.
within the safe zone of not getting hurt. And I
Sure.
think I'm balancing that pretty well.
Yeah, that's great. I really like your commitment to practicing things on both sides and also the Trictionary Tuesday or the McMonday challenges. I've got an app on my phone, that Seconds Pro app that I use as a timer. And I set up some timers. Like I have one specific for, I call it rope wrangling. And so it's basically a bunch of releases that I do. And I have a timer to do it on my dominant side, then my non-dominant side, and then do a
Wow.
backwards release, dominant and non-dominant. And I'm doing that to make myself do it on my non-dominant side because it's not necessarily as fun or graceful as it is on the
Right.
dominant side. Not that I'm graceful at all, but it doesn't approach that. But what I've found is by doing it on the non-dominant side or by trying out a trick that I've never done before and having to slow it down and think through it, my brain engages with the mechanics of what's happening. And like you said, being able to self-critique, like I was out on the dock the other night and I was trying to do releases and I had a few that just flew wild or smacked me upside the back of my head. And I just stop and think, oh, okay, here's what happened there. I was flailing the rope out here rather than a quick spin, and just being able to have that self-awareness after jumping a certain amount of time to say that's what's going on. And the way I can tell that's what's going on is when I try and do it on my non-dominant side. That's
Yep.
when that motion gets exaggerated. That's when I'm even goofier. And when I work it out on my non-dominant side to the point where I can pull it off, it's not beautiful, but I can pull it off. Then when I go back to my dominant side, the mechanics are there and it's so much easier.
Yes. Yes. It sort of feels like, and do you watch your own videos? Like, I don't know how you record. I record just, typically I don't record with the music playing unless I'm doing a remix. But so I'll look at my videos, which
Uh-huh.
will have no music or anything with them. And it's just a great way to really analyze how your arm motion is working or if you're
Yeah,
doing the proper count or what have you.
right,
I love it. I love it. I'm sure my kids and everybody thinks my head is in my phone again, but it's really me
right.
evaluating what I just worked on.
Yeah. Weird. All right, let's see here.
I can hear you. No, I'm not just trying to stroke you. It's really as top notch as I had no idea. I was like, oh my gosh, it's like how to prep, how to do this. It's fantastic for me,
That's
who's,
great.
I'm a boomer and we're
Yeah,
not like fantastically technology,
right.
whoops, savvy.
That's funny
That
as
was
your phone
perfect.
falls over.
That was perfect. That was so perfect. That's so Sarah.
I'm gonna have to save that for the podcast.
You should. That's so funny. I just proved my point. See? That's so funny.
That was hilarious. Yeah. So we got disconnected for connectivity reasons, and
We had been talking about just the discipline of learning to flow the rope on both sides. And I talked
yeah,
about how important the discipline of joining these weekly commitments to learn mic
right.
releases and to figure out where Coach Chris is getting all of his crazy moves there. I mean,
Yeah,
honestly, it's so good for an aging brain for me. It's
yeah,
my Sudoku, it's my crossword puzzle. And now everybody knows on a Tuesday, they're like, I know you're going to be working on what Coach Chris just posted. And I'm like, yep,
yeah.
I got to do it. So
It's
it's great.
interesting. Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned the aging brain because I think about this a lot. I think you and I are probably both older than a good deal of the jumpers out there. And I was thinking about it earlier and years ago, I read this book by Stephen King called Duma Key. I don't know if
Okay.
you've ever read it. It's a
I
great
haven't.
story, but the basis of the story is that there's a guy who has a construction company in Minneapolis, and he is in a terrible accident that gives him brain damage. And the whole book is about his recovery from this. And Duma Key is a place in Florida that he goes to spend some retreat time and learn to paint. I recommended the book to my dad, and he read it, and we talked about it afterward. And one of the things that I found so horrifying in the book, you think of Stephen King as the master of horror, but the scariest thing to me were the scenes where this man who had undergone brain damage was trying to think of a word when talking to his wife. He was trying to say, you know, pull up a chair and sit down, but he couldn't think of the word chair, and he would get so frustrated. He's like, pull up
Yeah.
the buddy, the pal, and he just couldn't think of the word. And I could feel that, like I know what it feels like to walk into a room and go, wait, why did I walk in here? Or to try
Yep.
and find that word. And I would talk to my dad about that, who years later was diagnosed with dementia and was in that situation. And so when I talked to him about how he was feeling and stuff, I always had that in the back of like,
Wow.
and so now part of my jump rope is I don't ever want to be in that place. I want to
I
keep that
agree.
blood flowing through my head like it's a pipeline. And so I think of
Right.
jump rope and all of the things that I learn and all of the little connections that are made trying to get my hands to grab that handle out of the air or to synchronize with my music while I'm skipping as things that are just my own Sudoku, my own crossword
Right.
puzzle. And I'm curious with you and aging, how does jump rope help you with that?
Well, I think I'm sorry to hear about your dad. It's
Thank you.
very challenging. My father also passed away from um, dementia
Yeah.
and Alzheimer's, but word retrieval is very real to people in their sexagenarians. And
Yeah.
that's when it starts, where you're trying to find the word. Like the chair is
Yeah.
like, I don't think I'm there yet, but I definitely walk into a room and try to think about, what it is that I was in there looking for. Or, when I'm having a quick conversation and I want to deliver like either a request for somebody to help me, or I find myself pointing to things. It's really a weird feeling.
Yeah.
So I recognize that I'm, sort of on that precipice of, that's going to become probably more prevalent. So what I think about and what I notice jump rope has had a positive influence on me is terminology. I'm learning new terminology
Right.
all the time with jump rope.
Right.
It's so cool, and
Yeah.
people rely on me a lot, I find in the community to say, tell me what this is called.
Right.
I attribute that to, again, to coaching that I had, because terminology is not something necessarily that the new jumpers are all learning. Where for me, 4 years ago, it was pretty part of my fundamental learning. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And it
Hmm.
was it was really good. So I attribute that to helping me find the right words to describe what I'm doing if I'm sending a video to somebody to help teach them a certain skill that they want to learn. It
Right.
helps me a great deal. And to be more needed in that capacity it's so flattering to me. I
Yeah.
was saying, when somebody remixes a reel, that's incredibly flattering. It's flattering if somebody
Yeah.
reaches out to you and says, hey, can you give me like some input on how to do this? And when you really have to like think it over in your brain and be able to demonstrate it or describe it to somebody, that's using a part of my brain that I don't know that I would necessarily be using right
Right.
now.
Yeah.
Right. The other aspect is, like twitch muscles and what have you. People talk about those a lot. I find myself being able to do things that I'm pretty sure most 60, late 60s, I'm not late 60s, but, my
Hmm.
age can do. I can catch things on my left side as well as on my right side. If something's falling, I don't sometimes don't even have to look at it. I don't have
Right.
it in my line of
Yeah.
vision. I
Yeah.
somehow know where it is. I think
Yeah.
it's like
Do you
I
surprise
feel like
yourself?
I shock myself sometimes when
I
I'm
do it
like,
too.
isn't that so? It's fascinating to me. And I think I'm
Yeah.
so cool. I'm like, I wish somebody
Right.
had seen me do that. Like I caught a coffee cup the other day that would have smashed, and I
Yeah.
caught it by the handle like it was
Yeah.
nothing,
Nothing. Right. Yeah.
nothing. And so I
You're
do
like Sarah
believe
the
that,
superhero.
yeah, it was, yeah. And we do those things. And I attribute that to being able to, because I've released the rope so many times and it's come back to me and I don't look at it, there must be something going on in my brain that's firing these muscles that I have. And I can't, I have to believe that's incredibly important right now. And
Yeah.
so I want to keep doing this. And the only way to
Totally.
keep doing it is to stay injury free. And I'm sure you've talked to all your guests about what do you do to stay injury free? You know, do
Yeah.
you stretch? Do you, what, like, what
Yeah.
do you do before you start getting up there on,
Yeah.
your little pedestal to dance? What do you do? Do you stretch your muscles? Do you take
Yeah.
time?
Yeah, I mentioned I use that Seconds app on my phone as a
I'll
timer.
have to
So
look at that.
I have the Fancy Feets app as well, Lauren's app,
Okay.
and she's got an intermediate warm up in there that I really
Okay.
like. So, and I did that for a year and a quarter or something without fail. Like not without fail. Every once in a while, I would go out and just freestyle, but at my age, I've got to warm up or I feel it. And
Yeah.
it's so important to me to be able to jump day after day that I don't want to skip that because I know what it feels like to be injured and on that point where it's like, okay, I can tape up everything. I can take, ibuprofen. I can use the Tiger Balm and I can get passable, but I want to go out and have fun and not hurt.
Right. Right.
So I always have a stretch routine. And that Fancy Feets app sort of morphed into me creating my own timer for my
What you
warm up.
need.
And so I have
Okay.
yeah, and I think there are 11 different things that I do from lunges and squats to ankle rotations, hip rotations, wrist rotations, arm circles, stuff like that. It's basically all the stuff to get my joints moving and limber enough to get going.
Right.
What's your warm up look like, Sarah?
You know what? I follow a warm up different at home than I do at the club because the club has quite an extensive area where you do stretching and they have
Okay.
machines that assist you in
Oh,
posterior stretching. Posterior
okay.
stretching being really important because those are the big muscles. So,
So when you say posterior stretching, do you mean like glute kind of
yes,
stuff or just stretching anything in
hamstrings.
your back?
Yes, anything, any of the
Okay.
posterior muscles in the back. And it's a great elongation tool. And you can
Okay.
sort of see where you're at in terms of the percentage of the stretch you're getting. And I always want to
Oh.
be, at a certain percentage. They
Hmm.
also have these vibration machines that I've never seen before. And you can stand on them and they create electrical
Oh,
like
pulse.
vibrations through your body. And so
Yeah.
that's the first thing I do is I get on that for 3 minutes on a very low range, maybe a 3 out of 10.
Okay.
It just gets my metabolism going and it relaxes me and it's lovely.
Is it actually pulsing your muscles kind of?
Yes, yes, yes.
It is. So
You
so
can
it
use it
tenses your
in
muscles for
any
you?
enough different. Yes. They also have a stretching chair. It is fantastic because it also stretches out all of your upper body arms,
Okay.
your quads, your hamstrings, and you can do number fours, which are probably the best stretches you can do for your posterior muscles in your rear end. That a lot of people get like an area where their nerves are being pinched back there. I know a number of jumpers have experienced
Yep.
sciatica. Have you ever had sciatica? Very painful. So
I've
doing a
not, but I've
number
heard of
four,
it.
yeah, you can help yourself by it's almost like you're flossing your posterior muscles. It sounds funny, but you're literally doing that. But this is taking your legs in a number four position and stretching your
Right.
body forward and backwards. Fantastic. So I
Right.
always do
So you
the
cross one leg kind of over a knee, right? So that you're
yes,
sitting kind of and then you stretch forward.
slowly back and forth, and it's called flossing.
Yeah.
It's as if
Okay.
the nerve endings, believe me, are like being in your lower back and through your glutes are being massaged. So
Okay.
that's really important. So I do
Hmm.
that. And then I do just a regular warm workout of high knees and different fundamental footwork, whether you're doing skiers, which for whatever reason, I find extremely difficult for me to coordinate, just
Hmm.
double jumps, single jumps. And then I just warm my body up that way. But what I
Yeah.
found, Dizzy, and I don't know if you found this, I find that cooling down post workout is probably the best thing that I've ever done. And one of the trainers at the club said, get back on the vibration machine, crank it up to a 6, but only do it for short periods, like 30 seconds. He said, and start with your heel and vibrate it. And what it does is it takes the vibration all the way up through my lower body on one side, and you do the same to the other side. It's made the biggest
Okay.
difference. I have no soreness in my hips where I used to feel like, gosh, that workout was pretty big time on my rear end and my hips. I
Yeah.
don't feel that at
Right.
all anymore. So I think it's been
Wow.
valuable. Yeah, it's been
That sounds
good. And
cool.
I have to, yeah, I don't really experience any soreness and I don't overdo I probably do overdo my workouts, but I try to minimize the times when I do that because the healing process is the long process at my age. Your cells are not regenerating, like
That's
they do
fast.
in a young.
So when you're not in the gym, how do you approximate that same kind of stretch or that same
I do
post-workout
floor.
kind?
I have a roller. I have a foam roller, and
Yeah.
I roll it out on the foam roller on my back and on my front.
With the foam roller, like I've got one too that's got these knobs on it, and I put it on the floor, and then I'll put my legs on top of it and
Hmm.
sort of roll myself back and forth. Do you do something like that, or are you
Yes.
putting it on top and rolling?
No, just what you're doing.
Okay.
And do the number 4. So you're going to be bringing that up,
Okay.
your knees up. That is the best way to work out those muscles. We're really using a lot of our lower back muscles
Yeah.
and our body, our glutes.
Yeah.
You're using it a lot. So anytime you can stretch that out and floss it
Yeah.
is extremely good for you. There's other ways to do it too with heel taps and what have you, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't spend hours stretching. I just make
Yeah.
sure I always stretch.
Yeah.
So, and right before bed too, I try to do a little bit of that just, so you
Yeah.
don't get cramps during the night. Do
You
you get
know,
cramps?
every once in a while I do. I got the most insane cramps the day of the jump rope meetup as I was arriving there. Um, like I arrived, I parked, and I walked out to the corner waiting for Nikki and Allison and Pam to come pick me up. And
Hmm.
I had a period where my hand spasmed and it was like a claw and I almost couldn't undo it. And it happened once more in the car. And I've had it happen a couple times where I've been jumping and I've overdone it and then I like do a stretch or I'll stand on my toes and then my calves will just sort of bind up. But I think
Yep.
that's more of like a nutrition thing and then kind of an overdoing it thing. But the stretch that I do that sort of, I think, gets to similar muscles, or at least in the back, is I'll do a standing stretch with my feet together where I bend over,
Hmm.
try and keep my back straight, but bend over as far as I can. I'll do that. And then I'll bend over about as far as I can and hold it for like 20 seconds and then come back up and then do it again. And then I'll do some knee rotations where I bend my knees, put my hands on my knees and sort of rotate. And
Yep.
then I'll straighten my legs again and do that bend over again. The other thing I'll do when I do the knee rotations is I'll press my hands into my knees as if I'm trying to force them straight. And then I'll
Oh,
use my legs to push out against my hands. And that gives you a bigger stretch. So, like if I try to touch the ground beforehand and I can, touch it, but then I'll do that knee rotations and then the resisted stretch with my knees. Then I can bend over and I can flatten my hands against the ground. Like
okay.
so
So you
that one
can.
so
All
that one's
right.
good. And then I'll do the same thing but in a standing split where I
Yep.
separate my legs. And then when I do that and I bend straight over, I will bend to one side, like say 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock. So as I'm split, I'll go over to about 10 o'clock and then hold it there for
Right.
20 seconds. And you can feel as you move your trunk from one side to the other, you can feel that stretch go from like up one leg and down the other. So I found that before and after can be really helpful too. Cool downs I think are. I've talked to so many people who are like, yeah, my warm up is like I just don't jump rope as enthusiastically as I do when I'm going 100%. But they don't necessarily do
Hmm.
stretches. And I find cool downs are one of those things that it's really easy to kind of overlook and say, oh, I'm done for the day. I'm going to just walk off. But that extra, even 2 or 3 minutes of stretching can make a big difference for me.
I think it keeps you healthy. I think
Yeah.
it really does.
Yeah.
I could 100% say that the time that you take to get those muscles stabilized and stretched.
Yeah.
Sounds sort of funny, stabilizing and stretching, but you're
Yeah.
stretching and then you're stabilizing. It's such a great feeling. I think that these clubs really prioritize it for a reason, and I think it's to mitigate injury. And
Right.
that's like, I want to mitigate injury. I don't want to,
Yeah.
fall. I don't want
Yeah.
to have recovery time. And so many people online right now are having recovery time.
I know. And it's so miserable. Have you suffered any major injuries as a result of jumping rope or
No,
minor injuries that have taken you out for a while?
I had my biggest injury was on a motorcycle. And
Oh,
I actually had an accident and it tore my rotator cuff 100%. So I had
oh,
100% reconstructive surgery of my right shoulder in 2017.
okay.
And my shoulder, it's so strong right now. It's full recovery, but it took probably a year.
Yeah.
And then I didn't start jumping until 2020. Jumping in 2020 absolutely helped rehabilitate it because it didn't have anywhere near the strength that it
Probably.
had
Right.
before I
Yeah.
injured it. So I attribute jump rope to my upper body strength, no doubt.
Was your range of motion limited as a result of that injury as well?
Not anymore. Not
Not.
no. I feel like jump rope because of the rotations that I'm able to do
Hmm.
and the repetitiveness of it has
Yeah.
completely given me my range of motion back. I used
Yeah.
to not be able not not to get I couldn't put a bra on. And if I tried to put
Oh,
like clip it in the back, it
yeah.
wasn't going to happen. Or if I
Yeah.
tried to put like an exercise one on, I might get stuck. It
Yeah.
doesn't happen anymore. I mean, that's sort of a side effect for ladies, but
Right.
no, I don't have any. I can take my arm and put it all the way up my back,
Yeah.
whoop, and lose my phone.
There's your chandelier. Yeah.
There's my chandelier.
Yeah.
So no, it feels fine. I thought that was going to fall.
That's great.
I think it's really important that we all kind of look at those. I think for young people, they don't think about it, and I don't
Right.
think I did either, but I do
I wouldn't.
now.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And you learn to appreciate what it means to be able to be so flexible that you can, put
Yeah,
your clothing on and off. Like I've been injured enough where taking off a shirt is agony. Like this shoulder, like or I get stuck with it half over my head or whatever. And so,
true.
yeah, once you get symmetrical and powerful enough that that stuff is no longer a concern,
Have
I
you
don't
had
know.
any injuries?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Have you?
Yeah, from overdoing it. And especially early on, I've talked about that over and over again, where, when I first got started, like I love music and I don't have any trouble picking out music. I put on a
Yeah.
playlist and I will just rock and roll and it will keep me going for longer than I should. So part of my jump rope journey has been learning to know that part of the joy of jump rope is being able to do it again tomorrow. So rather than
Okay.
go for
Yes.
3.5 hours in a row today, okay, once I start feeling it, then back off a little bit or take a break for a half hour or whatever and go back. So yeah, I've definitely had injuries that have made me appreciate the stretching even more. And you may have heard me talk about this, but in colder climates, like I jump through the winter and I
Yes.
don't mind jumping outside in the snow or whatever. But colder weather, that stretching is even more important because your
Right.
muscles are going to fight that, right? The cold's going to try and constrict everything and you got to keep warm. And so there are times, even in cold weather, where I will stop midway through a workout and re-stretch just to make
Right.
sure that I don't injure myself. Because I have had times where I've been jumping for a half hour, take a little break, start jumping again, and then feel something go in my calf,
Yep.
like a strand of muscle or something where now it's too painful to jump at all. Okay, I gotta
Right.
stop.
Well, it's good. I think the maturity that we have also helps us make better decisions about that too. Where
Right.
as a younger Sarah might have said, "Oh, push through, everything's going to be
Yeah.
fine." Now I sort of respect those
Yeah.
little nudges that are giving me a forewarning that I better slow it down or take it easy or whatever. It's important. It's
Yeah.
important. I don't want to miss out. I don't want to
Right.
miss out on my jump rope, my grandkids, doing
Right.
things with friends.
Yeah. And as the years go by and you have those special things in your life, whether it's jump rope or your family or whatever, you realize I don't have that much time left. I'm going to make the most of what I've got, right? And
Yeah,
so whether that's preventing injury or embracing the dance or embracing your family or whatever, you got to make the most of it while we got it, right?
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. You're so wise. That's so good. No, it is. It's really a mindset, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I am getting older and I appreciate the time I have. And after being injured, taken out from being able to jump rope for months, where all I wanted to do was dance and jump rope, I appreciate it so much that now when I feel that twinge of that muscle saying you've done too much, I listen to it because tomorrow is important to me.
Yep. Yep. I agree. That's
Yeah.
okay. I'm 100% with you on that, Dizzy.
Right on. So, what's next for you in jump rope, Sarah? Like, do you have a list of tricks to learn or meetups to go to, or what's up?
I always have files on my phone of, I have my must do, things that I start lining up that I'm going to follow through. On my big list was footwork. I don't do footwork like you do. You're very comfortable doing all different, just jamming to your music and doing footwork. To me, it's something that I have to think about. So I
Mm.
joined a shuffle group, and we've
Right.
been doing this now for over a year, once a month. It's just a monthly meetup. Well,
Yeah.
we don't meet up, but we meet up online, and we are challenged to learn a shuffle dance. That to me has
Okay.
been tremendous. And
Yeah.
I'm not great at it. Betty just jumps. She's so good at it. I mean, there are people that really
Love
rock it
watching.
out. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's so good.
She comes out with her hands in her pockets and just shuffles her
Isn't
heart out.
she? She's like a shuffler. I mean,
I know. I
she's like
love it.
on the dock doing it.
I know.
Everybody's got their strengths when it comes to that. Like Ina has super fast speed and
Yeah.
very accurate footwork, but we also have people that are relatively new to the group. And I say to them, this is not a competition, you
Right.
guys. This is a learning process, and it's
Yeah.
great. So footwork is always sort of, it's not my nemesis because I don't hate it, but I just don't feel like it's as natural for me as
Sure.
throwing a rope. I feel like throwing the
Right.
rope, I could do that all day, any day.
Yeah.
But working on the footwork is now working another. I mean, look at all the body parts you're working. It blows my mind, right? Without tripping
Yeah.
and falling, you're working, so many different body parts. So that's always on my list of things to do. And then just find new people that are learning it and trying to help them build their confidence, and
Yeah.
try new things and help them if I can. And just watching
Yeah.
people develop. To me, it's very exciting. This whole community, and you exemplify it because you bring people on that you think might have something to contribute to the community. They all do, yeah. And so I just feel grateful to be a part of it. Never ever have I heard anything negative. My family cautioned me 2 years ago. They're like, Mom, you're going to get haters out there.
Right.
Okay, introduce me to one.
Yeah.
I've yet to see one. There, people could not be nicer.
Yeah.
And they're,
It's like the jump rope community has built-in hater repellents built in, right? It's just
yes, it's like they've got security out there, and
yeah.
they keep them away from, dulling our light. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was sort of cool. But my
Yeah.
mom used to say to me, she goes, if you could be anything, if you could be any color, pick a color. And I'd say, okay, I'm going to be the color yellow because it brings sunshine. So let's try to bring that sunshine into as many people's worlds as we can. And,
Oh my goodness.
it might be a little sappy.
I don't think
She
so.
epitomized sappy and she epitomized sunshine. And so I feel that way whenever I sign on and go to my reels and look at what everybody's doing. It's
Yeah.
quite a wonderful community of people. I'm very honored to be,
Yeah.
part of it. And I hope I can be part
Totally.
of it for a long time, truthfully.
Yeah. And that's so cool that your mom said that because no lie, like when I look at your feed on Instagram, I see sunshine. You've got bright, happy
Oh,
ropes. You are a bright, happy person. You contribute so much to the community and you're so supportive of me and everyone else out there that I think, goal achieved. Like you are sunshine in person form and it's just a pleasure to watch you shine and jump rope.
thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you. She is listening from heaven. I'm sure that makes her day. Thank you,
Well,
Dizzy.
yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you because I mean, seriously, you contribute so much to the community and you are such a shining example of what jump rope can do for a person and does for a person and can do for the community.
Yeah, it's great. Thank you. This has been
Yeah.
really fun. I really was looking
Yeah.
forward to getting to know you more, and I really enjoy your podcast. So keep up the good
Well, thank
work.
you. Yeah, I'm
Appreciate
glad
it.
you enjoy it. I think it's so fun to just learn more about other people. And it's great that we're really not that far apart so that like
Right,
we have more jump
right.
rope meetups in our future.
I agree. I look forward to it. Thanks
Right on.
again. I
Yeah,
really
thank
feel
you.
so welcome here.
Hey, folks, thanks for hanging with us. Subscribe on Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. Tell a friend, drop a comment or review, and hit that 5 star so we can keep skipping into more stories. Till next time, remember, whips, welts, and wobbles fade, and when you show up, keep whipping, keep whirling, and keep skipping forward. You win.